Hello, 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 and welcome to the second episode of The Artist's Way. I am Nicole, or across all platforms, I am Interior Goddess. And this week, I am talking about The Artist's Way, the creative recovery of The Artist's Way, week 1 to 3 recap. And I am now on video. Last week, we were strictly audio for our first episode, and that is just the act of girl getting it done. We're not waiting until things are perfect. We're just going to go ahead and getting it done. So this week I'm talking about the creative recovery of the Artist's Way, week 1 through 3, from the lens of someone who creates spaces for a living. If you have ever felt stuck or needing a way to express yourself, this book is for you, and this podcast is a direct response to the creative recovery that I've been doing. And I really feel like I've been doing this creative work for a while, but it's only week 3 and things happen so fast in this book. It just goes to show you that once you really put your intention to something, how quickly things can happen for you. So yeah, this is only week 3 for me, but things are rolling quickly. I didn't expect to have a podcast at all. And so week 1 talked about being a shadow artist. And I'm going to read what being a shadow artist is because this is what got me. Okay. Shadow artists often choose shadow careers, those close to the desired art, even parallel to it, not the desired art itself. Intended fiction writers often choose to go into newspapering and advertising where they use their gift without taking the plunge into their dream of a fictional writing career. Intended artists may become artist managers and derive a great deal of secondary pleasure from serving their dream, even at once removed. So think about, like, even in the music industry, the way that some of these managers secretly wish that they had their artist's career because they either don't believe that they can do it, so instead they choose to support someone else in creating theirs. But technically they're still in their industry, right? So they seem to be quote unquote fulfilled. At the top of the year before I went on sabbatical, I knew I was on the cusp of like a really important change, and for a minute I started to think of so many other ways that I could go, so many other career changes that I could enter into. As a designer in the home and furnishing industry, there are so many avenues that you can go down. Like, I met up with a fabric rep, and um, she gets to travel the world. She's passionate about her fabrics, her textiles, her patterns, and she gets to meet with CEOs and help them bring their vision to life. And she gets to travel. She just has this seemingly luxurious life. I'm like, I can totally do that. Like, I'm passionate about textiles and fabrics and all that stuff. I can totally do that. That seems so cool. I could still get a solid paycheck and security, right? Which is what we talked about in week 2, is the sense of security in ourselves and the things that we choose. But and technically I would still be in my industry, right? I would still feel okay still doing those things, but was that really what you wanted? Or is what you want really to create full spaces? Um, you can be happy doing a plethora of things, but is it really what you want, or is it just a runner up? A saying that has stuck with me these past few years is to leave room for all things to be possible. All versions of you deserve a time and a place to shine, but in their own season. And at the very least, it is worth examining under the lens of, is this challenging me to be my best self, or am I settling because of fear or craving safety? One of the prompts this week was to write down some core negative beliefs that you have about yourself and then to challenge them immediately with positive ones. So for someone who's preparing themselves to make a life for themselves through their hands, ideas, or through their creativity, this is actually step 1. So you can fill your mind up with all these positive affirmations, but if you don't address the dark ideas, then all those positive ones can easily get lost. I saw a TikTok about a guy talking about a pendulum that was swinging, and each side of the pendulum being, one is your higher self and then one is your lower self. And one day you might be on the higher side of the pendulum, swinging so high and feeling good and on top of the world. And then the other day you might be feeling low. And so you keep swinging back and forth. And the more you swing to one side, which is your higher self side, the more that it kind of balances itself out and it doesn't swing so much to the other side. So And when I say higher self, I don't mean something that you're constantly chasing. You can get caught up in wanting to find ways to nitpick yourself all the time. But I'm not talking about constantly nitpicking yourself when I talk about higher self. I'm talking about you right now. You right now is the best version of you. And it's all about your posture and how you care for yourself and care for all versions of yourself, and how much you believe like in your body that you can actually achieve all the things that you want to achieve. A sense of creative identity to me means not letting self sabotage take down the exploratory phase of your creativity. So I know a lot of designers who are great painters through mural art. They can reupholster some great fabric or sofas. Some of them restore case goods or cabinetry. In 2020, I made a YouTube video. I believe it should still be on here somewhere, but I made a YouTube video showing you how to make a faux flower arrangement for Mother's Day. And from that video, I got over 3 dozen requests to make flower arrangements and to ship them out to mothers, since people didn't have access to their mothers in quarantine. And as a business owner, the logistics of that shook me to my core. Okay, I never shipped anything out at home in such mass before. But I got to it, and my goodness, was it fulfilling to be able to just see the smile on their faces, because I dropped off some locally in person if I could, but everything else was shipped out. But I it was so fulfilling to not only be able to put a smile on these moms' faces, but also leave a long term impact in their home. So, recovering a sense of identity for me means not being so strict on how it's going to happen for you and how this creative jolts are going to come, because you just never know where they're going to come from. And this podcast, again, is prime example. Two also talked about poisonous playmates. Let me read to you what they mean by poisonous playmates. Poisonous playmates are blocked friends. Blocked friends may find your recovery disturbing. Your getting unblocked raises unsettling possibilities that they too could become unblocked and move into authentic creative risk rather than bench sitting cynicism. Be alert to subtle sabotage from friends. You cannot afford their well meaning doubts right now. Their doubts will reactivate your own. Be particularly alert to any suggestion that who you have become is selfish or different. These are red alerts for us. They are attempts to leverage us back into our old ways for the sake of someone else's comfort, not your own. Be careful to safeguard your newly recovering artist. Often creativity is blocked by our falling in with other people's plans for us. We want to set aside time for our creative work, but we feel we should be doing something else instead. As Black creatives, we focus not on our responsibilities to ourselves, but on your responsibilities to others. We tend to think such behavior makes us good people. It doesn't, it makes us frustrated people. They then talk about crazy makers, and I want you to listen and see if you can identify or think of anyone in your life who is a crazy maker or is a poisonous playmate. Here's crazy makers. If you are involved with a crazy maker, you probably already know it. You can certainly recognize the thumbnail description in the paragraph, in this next paragraph. Crazy makers like drama. If they can swing it, they are the star. Everyone around them functions as a supporting cast, pick up their cues, and entrances and exits like crazy makers' crazy whims. Often larger than life, they acquire status by feeding onto the life and the energy of those around us. Think about somebody in your life who tries to feed off your energy, but it's not in a positive way. It tries to suck the energy out of you to give it to them to make them shine. Think about it. I didn't think of one at first. And then as I started to read these next descriptions, I'm like, oh, I got one. Crazy makers break deals and destroy schedules. Crazy makers expect special treatment. Crazy makers discount your reality. Crazy makers spend your time and your money. Crazy makers create dramas. Crazy makers are expert blamers. Crazy makers hate schedules except their own. Crazy makers hate order. Crazy makers deny that they are crazy makers. Crazy makers break deals and destroy schedules. Let's talk about that one. They show up 2 days for your wedding and expect to be waited on hand and foot. They rent a vacation cabin larger than and more expensive than the one they agreed upon, and then they expect you to foot the bill. Just stop. Just stop what you're doing, pause and think, identify them. they gotta go. In week one, we were supposed to create a list of imaginary lives, all the career paths that we thought we would have, but we didn't. Mine was to be a teacher, which I actually did for a short time. And the second one was being the owner of a spa. Like, I really did think that I would own a spa. I don't know what world or what timeline that is a thing, but that was one of my little dreams as a little girl. And who knows, right? I was a nursing major for all of a week, but I hate hospitals. And when I was a little girl, I envisioned myself walking through hospitals, but not in scrubs. I envisioned myself walking through hospitals in heels, designing the hospitals. Week two, we were told to go back to that list that we created in week one and find characteristics of each potential version of us and see if they still apply. This week, I spent the week in Maryland, and the DMV has my heart. I went to college here, so a lot of my closest friends are here, and it's always a place for me to retreat. And I'm sitting in the living room of the very first home that I ever designed. One of my closest friends bought a home back in 2018 and allowed me to design it. And I think it is just such a treat for me to be able to come here as a refuge whenever I need some peace or just to clear my mind. So technically, I'm creating spaces for you, but for me also. So in a way, this entire week has been an artist date, not just one single day. And I'm forever grateful for that. If you're watching this on video, we had a change of scenery. I told you God is in charge of the quality. I'm in charge of the quantity, okay? Just showing up here, okay? But week three was about anger and recovering a sense of power. And I have a very hard time with anger. I don't know what to do with anger. Anger is an emotion that I don't know where to place. And so we think about the times that you were angry. So you think about anger and when it hits you the most. And for me, I get angry whenever I think about the times I didn't speak up for myself, or angry about the times that I said yes when I really meant no. Angry about the times that I wasn't protected. Angry for the times that I ignored my dreams. And so I'm going to read for you what the book says about anger. Okay, so it says, anger is fuel. We feel it and we want to do something with it. Hit someone, break something, throw a fit, smash a fist into the wall, tell those bastards, okay? But we are nice people. And what we do with our anger is stuff it, deny it, bury it, block it, hide it, lie about it, medicate it, muffle it, ignore it. We do everything but listen to it. Anger is meant to be listened to. Anger is a voice, a shout, a plea, a demand. Anger is meant to be respected. Why? Because anger is a map. Anger shows us what our boundaries are. Anger shows us where we want to go. It lets us see where we've been and lets us know when we have not liked it. Anger points the way, not just a finger. In the recovery of a blocked artist, anger is a sign of health. Anger is meant to be acted upon. It is not meant to be acted out. Anger points to direction. We are meant to use anger as fuel to take actions, and to actions we need to move where our anger points us. With a little thought, we can translate the message that our anger is trying to send us. Okay, I have one more blurb about anger. Anger is our friend, not a nice friend, not a gentle friend, but a very, very loyal friend. It will always tell us when we have been betrayed. It will always tell us when we have betrayed ourselves. It will always tell us that it is time to act in our own best interest. Anger is not the action itself. It is the action's invitation. Do with that what you will. Do with that what you will. The next thing that they talked about was synchronicity. Said, answered prayers are scary. They imply responsibility. You asked for it, now you got it. What are you going to do with it? Why else the cautionary phrase of, watch out what you pray for, you just might get it? Answered prayers deliver us back into our own hand. It's not comfortable. We find it easier to accept them as examples of synchronicity. A woman admits to bearing a dream of acting. At dinner the next night, she sits beside a man who teaches beginning actors. A writer acknowledges a dream to go to film school. One simple phone call puts him in touch with a professor who admires his work and promises him the last available slot. A woman is thinking about going back to school, opens her mail, and finds a letter requesting her application to the very same school she was thinking about going to. A woman wonders how she was going to rent a film she has never seen. She finds it in her neighborhood's bookstore 2 days later. A businesswoman who's secretly written for years vows to himself to ask a professor for a prognosis on his talent. The next night over a pool table, he meets a writer who becomes his mentor and then collaborator on many successful books. And I'm going to share to you how my story matches almost identically to some of these things that I just read to you. Moments of synchronicity for me are just like laughter moments with God. Like, yo, you really are right here with me. Like, so last year at the CASE conference hosted by the Jamila Divine, who will be my first guest here on this podcast, so stay tuned for that, I met another designer who is a design professor, and I had already been thinking about going to get another degree and passing my boards. When I met up with her, she was just so encouraging. And so as soon as I got back from Atlanta, I decided to reach out to my school and I reapplied. And within 24 hours, I was accepted back into this prestigious design school in one day. I thought for sure that it would take me forever to get reaccepted, and it didn't. I got accepted. And then I'm like, okay, well, I owe these people thousands of dollars. And so I'm probably going to have to be so strategic about how and when I go back to school. And maybe I can go next semester or maybe the following semester. But I decided to just march on down to the school and go to the registrar's office. And when I got to the registrar's office, they said, no, ma'am, you don't owe us thousands of dollars. You owe us a whopping $58. Like, what? I thought for sure I was in more debt than I actually was. And sometimes we do that. Sometimes you make an issue seem much bigger than it really is. You think you're about to dive into this big old ocean when it really is just a puddle. I do that a lot. And so I'm like, okay, I'm hopping through these hurdles seemingly so effortlessly, and then I meet another hurdle. I need a prerequisite from another school, which isn't offered until the following spring. So again, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Yeah, I hop through all these hurdles, but this is just not for me right now. And just focus on what you can. Focus on what you can right now. And for me, my main priority was my clients that I'm working on right now, and just making sure that my processes are tight and that my clients have an amazing experience when they work with me. I'm just accepted. Okay, you'll be a forever student, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with continuing my education at my own pace. And I'm always going to choose the marathon and not the race when it comes to the things that I love. And so I go on a dinner date the following week, and I'm just following high vibrations. I'm going wherever it feels good and wherever I feel inspired. And lo and behold, I'm at this dinner and I'm sitting next to one of the deans at my school. I cannot make this up. Now, she didn't magically just get me into the course like I'm sure we all expected her to do or what we all hoped she would do. But it's just moments of synchronicity like that keeps me so grounded and focused and determined to see what I'm doing through. Remember the affirmation from week 1, our purpose is God's gift to us and using it is our gift back to him. And I am forever grateful that I'm able to use my gifts as honor and respect back to God. And so, moments of synchronicity like that is what really makes me go. And that is pretty much what I have for the recap of week 1 to 3. This book, things move real quick. Things are moving real fast. Is really helping me uncover why I create the way I create and what kind of blocks may have stopped me from reaching my full creative potential in the past and addressing them head on. And so kind of rewiring your brain to really express yourself freely and tap into what you want unapologetically. And so what's really is getting your girl. It's definitely getting your girl. And if you haven't, this is what it looks like. I got sticky notes all over this thing. I got sticky notes. This is what it looks like. So
yeah, I have this version and I have the workbook. It started going crazy on TikTok, and I'm like, well, it started coming up on my TikTok feed after I watched Dochi's, and I'm like, oh, so I'm not the only person like going through these like full body transformations, mind, body, soul transformations from reading this book. So if you have an inkling that you want to figure out and stop whatever creative blocks, this is your girl. But yeah, I'm so thankful for you guys for listening. I'm also thankful for those who have done this program before and have reached out and shared their experience with it and their aha moments with me. I love that. I love to see that. And yeah, I thank you for listening. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here with me. And feel free to write in the comments. I do want to start a community. I do want to share ideas, thoughts, anything that you felt like helped you or gave you a little buzz. Definitely leave a comment. And until next time, Designer's Way out.